Hi. It's been a really tough week for me, really tough 2 weeks for me. And a lot of the people I'm speaking with as well seem to be sharing a similar predicament of just a lot of challenges that happen to be colliding. And for those of you who are aware and connected to these communities, there was a tremendous loss to the world this week of two unbelievable people, two unbelievable souls, people who were so adept and so incredible at tapping into the potential and power and beauty of others. Really, two incredible lights. One of Bracha Schwartz, who lived in Israel, in Moshav Modi'in, and the other of Schwartzy, Shlomo Schwartz, who lived in Los Angeles. I'm connected with their children, with their families, in a multitude of ways. And while they shared the last name, they were not related, although very connected. So with them in mind, and really in their honor and in their memory, I just wanted to share a few words about dealing with challenge, because when in my personal life things just started getting really crazy and difficult, I was very relieved to discover that the Torah portion last week was of the plague of darkness. And I actually felt, if anything, very positive about that. Like I'm so in tune with what's going on spiritually in the world that's why I was having a hard time. Like I'm just living with the times, truly connecting with what's going on. And yet then we went right into positivity and the need for growth and the need for movement, and that we're not allowed to stay stuck. We can't stay mourning that darkness and paralyzed by that darkness and entrapped by that darkness, but we go straight from there into get out, get away from it, just move forward, go where you need to go. And this week, in the Torah portion of Beshalach, we deal with the splitting of the sea and how, as a people, we left behind everything we had known. And as bad as it was, change is really hard, and change is tough, and change is scary. And not everyone wanted to leave. A lot actually chose to remain behind in the horrible situation that they knew rather than brave the unknown. But for those that left, they finally got away, and yet the Egyptians start chasing after them, and they haven't escaped. They're not free yet. They're not even close to free yet. And they're in that limbo between no longer enslaved and yet far from being free. And they hit the water, and pretty big predicament there with a sea in front of you. And we're taught that it wasn't until Nachman ben Aminadav walked in up until his neck that those waters split. And had they not, they would have consumed him. They would have killed him. But he knew he wasn't going to turn back. He knew there was nowhere else to go. There was no running away. There was no escaping. He knew where he needed to be, and he wasn't going to let anything get in the way of stopping that. And just today, as we were driving through the gorgeous roads of Vermont, smack in the middle of the dead of winter, as it's referred to, I realized that right here, the dead of winter is when we celebrate life and rebirth. And it's this Shabbat that is Tu B'Shvat, and that's the birthday of the trees and the celebration of the trees, and the reminder that in the midst of this cold and freeze, and when everything is empty and seemingly dead, that is specifically out of that darkness that life rebuilds, and that the buds begin to form, and that they will eventually blossom, and that the beauty will come back, and that it's a preparation process. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not instantaneous. There are steps that have to happen, and they happen far before we can see them or experience them or benefit from them. But it is specifically in this time, in this cold, in this freeze, when there's absolutely no seeming evidence of positivity or new life, that it's all happening. So with that, I just want to really wish us all that as we deal with our difficulties, and we'll have them, and as the darkness seems to overwhelm and block everything out and just completely consume us, that it's out of that immediately after, if we simply put one foot in front of the other, if we know where we need to be, even though we're not sure how we're going to get there, that we move forward, and that in the midst of this, those seeds are forming and growing and developing. And even though we can't see it now, and we may not even be able to envision it now, it's happening and it's changing. And very soon we should be able to just relish in the beauty. So good Shabbos, and it should be a really good week. Take care.